You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Do you stand for what you believe in and find the strength to do what's right? That's turtle power. And we are Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Welcome back to a brand new episode. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
So, that's their saying?
That is a
Lyrics?
lyric.
A saying. Oh, it's a lyric.
Turtle Power by Partners in Crime.
Never heard of.
That was their one song they had. Wasn't as popular as the Vanilla Ice Go Ninja Go.
On the half show that the heroes for in this day and age, you could ask for more. The crime wave is high with muggings mysterious. All police and detectives are furious because they can't find the source of this lethally evil force. This is serious, so give me a quarter. I was a witness. Get me a reporter. Call April O'Neil in on this case. You better hurry up. There's no time to waste. We're talking turtles tonight.
I don't know where he pulled out that whole verse, but I feel like it was from somewhere a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have another episode of The Crossroads.
Lots of ping pong balls. I had an idea.
What are you saying about the ping pong balls?
What if we do a podcast episode about a crossover?
Ping pong?
Any crossover. Most ridiculous crossovers there have been in comics, TV, whatever you guys want to do. We randomly pull one out, and that's what we're going to do.
That's the one you're going to do.
So we don't have to figure out which one we're going to do. We just do the one we pull out.
Ping pong balls.
We have a crossover.
It's wiggin' whack.
Exciting. We watched this show that you told me all about, and then you acted like you never heard of it when I told you to go watch it. What was that all about?
Well, a little bit of miscommunication. We are doing famous crossovers in pop culture here. So the ping pong ball that we pulled out.
Yeah, I remember that.
The most important detail of all this, the ping pong balls, was for Turtles Forever from 2009. And I knew that was a crossover between the current animated version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the old school 80s version. Well, I thought it was the one from the third series that started in 2012 because they did an episode very much like this with a very similar, let's say, identical plot. But this is from the 2003 series. So
okay.
The first animated, the ones we're probably most familiar with, started in 1987. So after that wrapped, the very next one was 2003. And that was 4Kids Entertainment, Saturday morning Fox Kids show. Lasted 6 seasons on Fox, and then did the final 7th season on the CW. So they made this movie to wrap up after the 7th season finale. This kind of wrapped everything up. So this was them with a wink going back and crossing over when they meet their former selves.
Right.
And I'd never seen any version of the 2003 Turtles. I didn't know.
Wow, are you too cool for school? What the hell?
I don't know.
thought you were turtles all the time.
Early 2000s Jordan, I guess, just wasn't.
Wow.
Didn't have the turtle power.
I did not know this about you. Jesse, don't abandon him. Jesse never gave up on him. I guarantee.
Well, that's part of the reason I thought the 2012 version was so remarkable, because I didn't really care about any other version since then. But the 2012, like the CGI version, was so good it made me watch it again. So I thought, wow, this is really excellent. But we're not going to talk about the good one. We're going to talk about the other one.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
that's right. Now I'm even more excited. Yeah. So it's called what?
Turtles Forever.
Was there a colon in there? It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever. So I did not know what was going on. Like, I was really expecting you to fill in a lot of these blanks, and now you're telling me that you didn't watch that cartoon. So
I'm gonna try my best.
Okay. So I'm just gonna get into it here. This is my notes from a month ago when I watched it. And if anyone wants to watch it, it's apparently on YouTube like everything else.
Yeah, you don't have to rent it like Seth did.
Yeah, I don't care. I saw it on there. I'd had it on my wish list ever since we decided we were doing this. I just watched it. I don't mind donating to Amazon. They need this money.
They need it.
So there's some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, versus
Okay. With you so far.
versus the Hun. Okay, now first off, has the Hun or whoever, what is it? What's this guy?
I don't know. I did not know him. I felt like I was supposed
I feel
to.
a lot better. I feel a lot better.
Yeah, I quickly realized I had not watched an episode of Turtles anything since 1989 or so. So
it's not a part of the 80s Turtles at all, this Han guy, right?
Not that I knew of.
And he's got the purple dragons.
Right.
His guys.
Yeah. Apparently they replaced the Foot Clan as the main enemy, Jordan.
I believe they were around even in the original comic as just kind of the street gang, just the teenage hoodlums. But I believe Hun started in this series. I think he was made for this cartoon.
I did like him. I liked his stuff where he was frustrated with the 80s Turtles. That was good. Anyway,
in the IDW comic, they made Hun more of a central character, and he was Casey Jones's father. So Casey had like a gang leader as a father and wanted to get out of that life. So I don't think that's the continuity here, but that's what IDW did with it later.
That's weird.
Wow. Okay, so they're stealing tons of high-tech loot. And Splinter is watching some progressive soap opera, we see, and so somebody's stepbrother's half sister he's watching, and there's a special news report about the break-in, and he's it's all, I don't even remember what the hell's going on. I can't read my notes. But we have the 80s Turtles are prisoners of the Hun, right? Or of Hun. Is it Hun or the Hun?
Just go with Hun.
Okay. And they've got ooze capsules. And they fight.
Yeah. Okay, it's coming back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
They fight old Ten Teeth over it all the time, talking about Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
And Raphael's breaking the fourth wall already, and the Hun kind of looks at him. They don't say it, he just looks at him like, what are you doing? I love it. He finally asked that later, but that was so funny.
Because this was the more serious Turtles. This version, they didn't joke so much. It wasn't all cartoony. These were the grim and gritty Turtles, so that they didn't put up with the silliness of the 80s series.
Yeah, that threw me off a little bit because I only was familiar with the 80s Turtles. And first of all, I didn't remember how just off the wall they were, like how silly it was in my memory.
Yeah, I liked, I read some of the original Turtles comics when they came out, and that was like super serious. Mm-hmm. And then this when it blew up in the cartoons and was Cowabunga, stupid crap, I didn't care anything about that. I mean, I just wasn't as young.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was great. I love cartoons. But anyway, that wasn't my thing. So I assumed at some point there was a more serious take in the cartoons. And I remember you talking about the 2012 version and the last few years. Like, it was a little more serious. And this,
it was a nice mixture. It didn't. I mean, it had some out there things. You know, it had some weird, wacky stuff, but
right.
It had.
But the '80s really stick out as silly, which works good for this. Like, so at least there's some contrast. But the Hun opens up a capsule of the mutagen, and a fly eats some and gets big. And then those O3 turtles come in and save them. And they're like noticing things like the '80s turtles have, I think it is, they have their initials in their belt buckles and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hope you don't mind, but we let ourselves in.
Actually, it kind of looks like we're already here.
Hey, those dudes look just like us. Don't flatter yourselves.
That's our cue! Rat, look out!
Thanks, bro.
Excuse me! Sweet! They got little initials on their belt buckles. Like superheroes.
Fascinating. Little help here, Mikey.
They're like yelling turtle power and everything, and these guys are like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, this version of the Turtles was more. Was it more like the newer movies? Was that based on? I don't know what year those came out, but not the original. Yeah, the second generation of the movies when they were dark and grittier and kind of had like. Did they have like bamboo armor or something they wore in that movie?
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought maybe it was more related to that. So, the newer version.
All right, but the O3 Leonardo distracts the bad guys. They shoot the wall down onto themselves. And he's like, who the shell are you guys? Oh,
yeah, I think they said that
good writing.
About 150 times.
That's how gritty they were. They nearly cursed.
Right. So they're like, we'll talk about it after lunch. So they all go to Jay's Pizza. Now, is that a staple of the universe? We don't know. Okay, so there's people screaming, and they want, when they walk in because they're freaking turtles. And apparently, now in the 80s cartoon, was it just nothing for them to walk into a pizza place?
Yeah. They were a known. They were known. It is known.
It is known. So here it's crazy. So people screaming. They go in and order pizza with sauerkraut, tuna fish, pretzels, jelly beans, and the chef just runs away. The pizza chef.
Yeah, because he's freaked out. Yeah.
The cops come, and they go in the kitchen and get netted by the O3 Splinter. And
it's a different Splinter than the original.
Yeah,
too.
It's the O3 one, right?
Yeah, he's brown, where the original one was more gray.
Yeah, and he wants them to start from the beginning. They got to know what the heck happened. And Shredder has this technodrome, and he wanted more mutagen. See, so Donatello hotwired something, and then we see that they're not in Kansas anymore, they say. And Splinter says we got to find the Technodrome. So, underground, the Technodrome's broke. Shredder realizes what's up. There's a temporal anomaly, perimeter breach. The turtles show up. And there's 8 turtles, he says. What the heck?
8 turtles? I don't know how this came to be, but soon there will be none.
So he sends out Bebop and Rocksteady, and this is where I say I don't know which one's Bebop and which one's Rocksteady.
Destroy them, all of them. With great pleasure, Master Shredder. Bebop and Rocksteady? Say your prayers, Toil.
and defeat guys.
Do you want this to be like a Zack and Cody situation where you don't want to know?
I don't want to know, right.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I don't want to know.
So, how do you guys normally handle these situations? Turtle power! Don't you just love these guys? Cowabunga! Cowabunga!
Jeez, it's like having 5 Mikeys now.
You got the Foot Clan, and they're robots.
Yeah, the foot soldiers in the original cartoon were robots.
Oh,
That
really?
was a way,
Okay.
that was a way to cut down on any violence.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
They could beat up a robot. It'd be all right.
Well, obviously, this is all a Daredevil ripoff.
Yeah.
Then you got there's a silly fight ensues, of course, and Krang yells at Shredder. Now, who's Krang? I mean, I've heard of this guy. I've seen him before. What is he?
Go ahead.
He is an Utrom, which is one of these weird brain aliens, which is straight from the comics. But yeah, in the cartoon, he was turned into the very silly. He had the weird voice, and
He was from Dimension X.
Right. So yeah, he was going to open up a portal to Dimension X and conquer our dimension.
Right. So he built this really dumb looking big body that he was always in like the stomach of. It was just ridiculous.
Which is a ripoff, also. You know, who are we? Is that MODOK or something?
Oh yeah. I mean, I could see that. Yeah.
No, what's his face?
Zola.
Arnim Zola.
Arnim Zola. So anyway, Shredder wants to go look for the other him. He's like, hey. He blows up the feet bots to buy time. And Bebop and Rocksteady escape, get on the Technodrome, and it starts burrowing into a wall. Then we get the 80s Shredder.
Who is dumb.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a threat, but never quite was all that menacing.
Yeah.
Right. And we get this 03 new Shredder on screen, and he's like excited to see him. He's like, he teleports in. He's like a pink slug. Is that...
Yeah, this completely lost me. I knew nothing about this, so I looked it up. I'll give you the footnotes.
Alrighty.
You're welcome. He's known as the Utrom Shredder, and he was the main villain of this series. All right, so much like Krang is an Utrom, this is this universe's version of the Utroms. So this was the alien warlord Chirel, and he caused the death of millions across the galaxy. He was finally captured by his fellow Utrom and transported back to his homeworld to face, to be punished for his crimes. On the way, he managed to escape, and he sabotaged the ship, and it crash landed on Earth in feudal Japan. So this was centuries ago, all right? So the Utrom had to wait hundreds of years until human technology advanced enough for them to develop teleportation and use the technology to get home. So in that time, they developed humanoid exosuits to hide among the humans, and Chirel stole the first prototype and used the Japanese legend. There's a demon named Tengu of Japanese folklore. So he took over, used that as his dual identity, and became a wealthy philanthropist named Oroku Saki, while secretly operating as the crime lord known as the Shredder.
Okay.
So apparently during the series, the High Council of the Utrom found him guilty and sentenced him to exile on a desolate ice asteroid. So that's apparently where we left him, and the Shredder had been, banished where we picked up here. So this is him getting back off the asteroid.
Wow. So the 80s Shredder shows this guy around, and there's like a foot guy carrying him around. And Krang releases gas to knock out the alien.
And they put him in a jar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attacks, but it passes out. They put him in a jar. Some ninja girl shows up, Did you guys know who this was?
Yes, that is Karai,
Okay.
who in most continuities is Shredder's daughter. Some are either his adopted daughter or his biological daughter. Just depends on the version.
Now, I would assume is she in the original comic at all?
Later in the run, not right from the beginning.
And I would assume in that she is his actual daughter.
I don't remember which.
I didn't know who she was.
I was gonna ask.
And she's part of the Foot Clan, and she's one of the quote unquote bad guys, but she's always like
she's
they've been
Elektra.
able to. She has she has honor. They've been able to work with her for things before, so yeah.
So the O3 Turtles are driving their garbage truck, and they get run off the road by Hun's guys. They open up the back of the truck, and this big gray monster comes out with a red mohawk. It's got mutagen, and Hun wants more mutagen, so this guy's all blown up on that stuff or whatever, right? So Splinter fires slime rockets from the truck, and they go in the sewer. And the Hun jumps down, grabs mutagen, but it busts on his arm.
Yeah.
What's that do to him?
He becomes
him.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
He turns into a monster.
Right.
That's the secret of the use.
He leaves the sewer and joins the red alien shredder guy and the daughter on the Technodrome. We got the 80s guys want more pizza because that's what they do. They want pizza. And okay, so the Technodrome is having foot problems, and then Karai says this dimension is the Dimension X is dumb, basically. She doesn't like Dimension X. That's what she says. So upgraded new foot soldiers lethal, okay.
Who are not robots.
Right.
Yeah.
Not cartoony.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gets the he gets his new the little red shredder gets a new shredder body. And he's all badass and has red eyes and sharp things everywhere.
Right. So she's also improved the human troops and with mutagen.
Yeah.
The guy gets injected and turns into a monster. Mm-hmm. Alien Shredder asks the computer for more information. The Turtles need a trans-dimensional portal stick from the 80s. Okay, obviously.
Right, yeah. Goes without saying.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll make one out of some junk. Donatello, he'll screw a couple screws in it, and it'll be good to go.
Plenty of times.
Right.
In fact, we got all kinds of special anti-Technodrome gear back home for just such an occasion.
Special anti-Technodrome gear?
Certainly, but like Leonardo said, it's back in our home dimension. We'll need to build some kind of trans-dimensional portal stick to get there. A gateway into other dimensions, but small enough to fit into most overhead compartments.
Donnie, whatever he's talking about, can it be done? We've seen time travel windows, cybermat transporters, but a dimensional portal in a stick? It sounds, well, silly. No offense.
Come on, Mr. Wizard. It'll be easy.
Karai yells at Krang. The alien shredder hits the 80s shredder. He wants the turtles, so he sends Han. And Donatello is trying to make a stick. He's making his portal stick. Han, Bebop, and Cody burst into the nose contraption thing. Fight with the robots 2.0 and they brought, and it caves in. The portal stick takes them back to the 80s.
What just happened? Where's Master Splinter? Where are we?
Cowabunga! Dudes!
Oh, This is your dimension? Why does it all look so weird?
Yep, there's no place like home.
What the shell are we doing here? We gotta go back. Master Splinter's in who knows what kind of trouble.
Donatello ported us out just before your roof flattened us into pizza pies.
Told you it'd work.
We're going back. We'll save Splinter, and we're stopping that Technodrome. But we've got another problem. Hun mentioned the one true Shredder.
And you know what that means.
Our little alien Utrom is back.
Utrom Shredder? Sounds Swedish.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Can't you guys be serious about anything?
And there's April. Is she like, she needs saved immediately.
I say we head to our lair, pick up our anti-technodrome gear, and go put it to good use.
They said
Like commentary on the damsel in distress that April was.
Yeah, and it was funny because at this point, I guess I had forgotten just the look of that cartoon for the main part. So when they go back to like New York and there's like ninja pizza, and guys walking around with boom boxes on their shoulders, and just the whole look of it threw me back to like, you know, 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember the entire aesthetic of the show now, besides just the silliness of it. But
right.
You know,
yeah, that was lifted. That was all lifted directly. Like even the background characters were in old episodes. Like I recognized specific characters. Although it was kind of funny of like these 2003 Turtles making fun of the 80s fashion. Like, look how silly these people look. And then it cuts to the early 2000s and everyone on the street looks ridiculous compared to today.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it was a banana monster that was attacking her, I believe.
Okay.
And they ask her why she's wearing a yellow jumpsuit. Well, she's a reporter. Obviously, that's what you wear. And so they go visit the 80s Splinter and Sewer. The Hun takes the 03 Splinter to Shredder. And the 03 April and Casey Jones, I guess, or whatever. Okay. And the Technodrome comes out of the ground. So they're taking a walk or whatever. Now I mean, I know nothing about Casey Jones. Obviously, you know, which he was in which series? All of them? Was he goes back to the 80s?
Yeah, he was he was introduced in the Raphael one shot, which was probably like the 4th comic ever published they did.
Wow. I don't remember him. That seems weird. What was his character what was the point of his character? Just a human other than her?
Yeah, he was like a human vigilante.
Okay. So was it? I don't remember that from the comics. What, you know, it's been so long.
That's weird. Like he is such a fan favorite. You're asking me why do people like him? I don't know. I'm not sure I can answer that question.
Well, I remember we were talking about the toys and stuff, and Russ said something about he got into it when you know, like almost like because of Casey Jones. I'm like,
well,
okay.
Casey Jones was like best buddies with the Raphael characters, right? That was kind of their, you know, Raph was the loner character that always went off on his own, and then Casey Jones was, I think, supposed to be like a similar character, but like you're saying, a human. But then he was also the love interest of April, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the original comics, I think when he was first introduced, he's like sitting in his apartment. He's got 3 or 4 TVs sitting on top of each other, and he's watching Charles Bronson movies. And, you know, those 80s grim and gritty, you know, man alone vigilante movies. So he's like, I'm going to go clean up the street. So it was.
See, now I like this. I that introduction sounds good.
Yeah,
but
the idea of the dumb kid who thinks he's going to, you know, take on crime.
Yeah. So, 80s portal opens, see the mess in the streets and tanks, etc. Technodrome, Death Star, release mutants and robots, party wagon, and the blimp come through the portal to fight.
Go any faster?
Sure, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Why not? Easier just to show you, dude.
You know, this wagon isn't half bad.
It ain't half good either. We're just tickling these uglies. We need air support.
I have also noogies written down here. What's noogies? What did I write that for?
Well, they say any landing you can walk away from. Return of the Noogie! Cut it out!
Come on, let's end this once and for all.
Somebody said it.
Okay. I love the part with the blimp. When the blimp comes on there, and one of them makes like the new turtle makes a comment about the riding on it, and he's like, "Can't this thing go any faster?" or something like that, and he like detaches it, and they go gliding in. It was ridiculous. The idea of it was ridiculous in the first place, but then the fact that they're calling him out on it, I love.
Yeah. Shredder watches the turtles coming. It's a trap with Splinter as bait. And there's like I have Danger Room like changes, and they're all stuck around the room. Don't they get they get all trapped?
Yeah.
And then Shredder, it's like there's saying how there's a bunch more turtles, and they show them all the pictures of all the turtles over.
Yeah, I saw a whole bunch of stuff I recognized that was actual covers of books or famous panels. So a lot of Eastman and Laird art. There was stuff from the Archie, the TMNT Adventure series, which is a very cartoony style. Some of the covers from Tales of the TMNT, which is sort of the concurrent book that was running that had a bunch of different writers and artists doing stuff. Some stuff from Jim Lawson, who was drawn more Turtles comics than Eastman or Laird from those early days. Michael Zulli had a very famous story with them in the samurai armor. I saw Stan Sakai drawing, who did the Usagi Yojimbo. And it had there's a picture from the live action movie. And I forgot this movie existed. There was a CGI picture, and I was like, is that from the next series? Did they already have some art? No, there was a movie in 2007 called TMNT. It was all CGI. I completely forgot about. It was a theatrical run movie.
Mm-hmm.
They had a shot from that. And the 1996 Japanese original Legend of the Super Mutants. So there was like an anime looking style of this thing that was only released in Japan. So
wow.
It was a cool mosaic of all classic of any version of the turtle you can imagine.
That was very cool. I like that whole sequence there. Yeah, each dimension came from the same source, so they got to find the source of all these turtle problems and destroy it. Now, no more turtles.
You can't find the source of this lethally evil force. Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, what? Go on! Don't let me stop you. And so all these similarities point to Turtle Prime. I'm like getting excited now. I'm like, all right, Turtle Prime. I need to see this. So the daughter pushes some buttons and they find it. And Technodrome disappears and spits out the turtles. They're like, why didn't we die? Anyway, we can track them down with the portal stick. So the world starts erasing all around them.
Yeah. Just
they
like
go
it
to
was a comic page.
Right. They go to Purple Dragon headquarters, and Hun is there. There's a fight. Everything's erasing. And they ask Hun for their gear or whatever. And
Hun, where'd you put my gear?
Right.
Hun.
Then the 03 April and Casey erase. Turtles go to the crater and they all portal away. So now they're in the OG comic, the black and white stuff, the Source Turtles, the Turtle Prime.
Particle emissions end here.
So this must be the place.
Turtle Prime.
Like, what kind of world is this?
Grim, gritty, my kind of place.
Figures.
Huh. I'm thinking of retiring here.
We'll all be retiring here permanently if we don't find the Shredder and stop him. Leo, I think someone just found us.
And and I love that. Like, you know, they narrate as they fight, you know, and
yeah, those are direct quotes from the first issue of the Mirage series.
What is this? 8 wannabes. On our turf?
Trying to steal our act.
I strike 2 on my way down. Donatello takes out a 3rd with his staff. Already the pudgy ones are starting to panic. Raph loves this stuff. He's not alone.
Why is he narrating? Is he crazy?
Hardcore crazy.
I love these guys!
Stop! We're trying to save you from the Shredder!
now this is what I like the pudgy ones panic. I like that.
That's not a direct quote, but some of the other ones are.
Right. What I was going to ask you at this, because it has been so long since I have read any of that, but is there any reference, I guess there is, if there's this Karai character at all, to the original reason that Shredder and Splinter, like, hey, you know, why there is this fight? What Shredder's problem is, you know? Wasn't it like somebody slept with somebody or killed somebody?
It is. Yeah, it's a fight over a woman. I don't know how deep they got into it in the comic. My biggest memories from the original movie of him explaining they fled to America to get away from this. Like, yeah. So the comic I'm not 100% sure of, but yeah, it's been the basic thing. Those two, either Shredder killed this woman he loves, or he escaped with her and he vowed vengeance, or there's some version of that in all the original.
Well, yeah, I was hoping that it at least said something like that in the cartoons, because otherwise it's like, I mean, it just seems so personal in the original comic, and that
we have 1 minute.
Okay.
I will look at the comic here on my shelf, and I will answer that correctly.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Well, just cut out my wrong answer.
Well, let me.
Start with another.
You have like all the. Did you look up and see what they did in the cartoons?
Oh, the cartoon. No, they were. He was a human that turned into a rat in the cartoons.
That is correct. I remember that.
But in the comic and the movie, he's a rat that mutated into more of a human. Like, so I don't know why the cartoons thought that was better. But
right, yeah, I just read that first issue and forgot how. Yeah, I really liked that story. The whole deal, like Shredder's a big problem. You know, the whole history of that. Just saying how they like Splinter was just a pet rat of his owner was a member of the Foot Clan.
Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi, and he would just mimic his moves, you know, to learn to be, you know.
I remember that in the movie, the little rat in the cage.
Yeah. So like mimic the martial arts moves, and that Yoshi and Nagi. Well, I don't remember his first name, but they were like rivals for the same girl, Tang Shin, and she liked Yoshi. So the Nagi guy went over to if he couldn't have her, nobody could have her, and he was gonna kill her. So Splinter's master, whatever, Yoshi, had to kill him and then flee the country because he killed another member of the Foot Clan. So he took the girl with him and went to the U.S. And then we find out that Nagi had a younger brother who was 7 at that time, and he was mad because he killed his brother, and he grew up and became the best Foot Clan member ever, and they made him in charge of the New York branch of the Foot Clan, which I thought was funny. And that was Shredder, and he went to their place and killed the girl, and then the guy came home and he killed him too, and Splinter saw it. It was like, gosh, that is some dark stuff for a
kid
about turtles. Yeah. Turtles and a rat.
Turtles in a half shell. All right. So where did we leave off with our movie here? We are
oh, sorry. We were back there at this original Turtle, so it was like black and white and everything, and
they're fighting the original Turtles when they zap in or whatever, right? With the black and white Turtles.
Yeah. And they're describing them how they fight, it's like they do in the original comics. And the Technodrome shows up, it's destroying the universe. The black and white Turtles yell at Shredder. Shredder shows up, the OG Shredder, and which is funny because if I remember, doesn't he show up on the rooftop just straight out of the comic, out of that original comic, and they just throw the new Turtles throw garbage at him.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's it. That's
gone.
it for him. It was like that dark character I just described. This guy who just murdered all these people. They just throw garbage at him, which I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, that was really good.
New Shredder comes out. All the Turtles come out. Karai saved them, and
I'm not there yet. I'm playing it.
Oh, okay. Somebody gets huge. So does Krang. I guess Shredder gets huge. Krang gets huge. Turtles shove him toward the Technodrome lasers.
Yes.
Zack and Cody stop the rays. And she grabs the Turtles, or Shredder grabs the Turtles. I don't know my notes. A racing is happening. Only the original Turtles in the hand are still there. In his hand, and the 80s Donatello throws an exploding star or something.
Because that was the whole deal. They had to go back to the 80s. We need to get our equipment. And it was a roller skate and a banana peel, all the silly stuff. And he's like, I got exploding ninja stars. And it ended up being very important.
Yeah. And I forgot about that. Then Bebop and Rocksteady turn the laser back on. Shredder has been shredded, and they get on the drome. The O3 stayed behind and used the portal for some reason. And I guess they need to go where they need to go. The OG Turtles like the initials on the pizza. They said they were into that. And they say, we are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We strike hard and fade away into the night.
Yeah, and then it kind of closes there on that original comic panel of the black and white. And that's it.
Cameos from Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the creators.
That's right. After I watched this, I went back to Netflix, the Toys That Made Us special, and watched the Turtles one, and it was a good behind the scenes look at that. Had a lot of Eastman and Laird and the history there behind it, and their relationship, and then breaking up and selling the turtle. The one sold the Turtles to Viacom and all that. But it was really interesting, and then it was really sweet at the end. They reunited the two of them, and it just kind of ended on them. They were just drawing comics, something they hadn't done together in 20 years.
That might be my favorite episode of that. I learned a lot I didn't know from it, and especially I had the wrong opinion of those guys all these years. That I just kind of assumed Laird washed his hands of it and left, because Eastman was way more involved. He would do art for things, and cover art or variant cover art, or he was involved with the IDW relaunch. He would go out and promote, like when the movies came out. Like, it just seemed like Eastman was more into it, and Laird was tired of it. But this behind the scenes thing we're talking about from Netflix, it wasn't that at all. It was Laird loved the comics so much, he didn't want any of the other nonsense. He was tired of the toys and the movies and the birthday balloons and like all the nonsense. He just wanted to make comics. And so it seemed like a more pure vision of it. And then when they did sell it to Nickelodeon, he left a clause in there that he could still own the comic, right? If he wanted to go back and like continue that original Mirage series, that's the only thing left that he even owns of the Turtles. If they ever want to go back and do the comic. So I had, like I said, the wrong opinion, assuming Laird was over it, but he actually kept that original love of his creation. So good for him.
Yeah. Do we know how much they got for that?
Yeah, it said in the special, but I don't remember. Like, by the end of it, they both had enough money, from it to make to be okay the rest of their life. I believe, but yeah, the one guy did make a lot more money than the other. So.
And it seems like I know they made a lot of money, but they also sold it at kind of a low point.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Turtles weren't huge, and then when Nickelodeon bought them, brought them back, then it all kind of blew up again. So I don't know if they could have held on for a little bit longer, but who knows?
So overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good cartoon. As far as I like that, come on, it's got that time travel-y feel, and you got all the different versions crossing over, and I love that it built up to going back to the original. It was there was a lot of silly and stuff, but that's what the Turtles became.
Right, but that's what I liked about it. I liked all the original cartoon stuff, and that the movie pointed out how ridiculous it was. I mean, it's still fun and silly, but I mean, it was outrageous stuff that very young kids were eating up at the time. And we watch that now, and compared to the newer version of the Turtles that's out there, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this stuff was insane. This cartoon.
Yeah.
How was that as popular as it got?
Just you have to think somewhat. It's just the title, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is just a hilarious thing to say.
And they said it over and over and over again in the title song.
I'm pretty sure I remember the first time I heard that term, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I believe, Cliff, your mother-in-law was in the room the first time I heard it. I don't know
remember where I was.
I don't know why I remember this so much, but like it was in a magazine.
Okay.
And Alicia's mom, she would bring Ben over.
Yeah.
And like her and Jared, my brother, would play.
Mm-hmm.
And she helped some stuff around the house sometimes. And it was in like a magazine. And so I said, Teenage Mutant. And I just remember hearing, and those 4 words, like, what does that even mean? It's like that memory. I know everyone who was in the room when I heard it. Like that memory is so burned in my brain.
That's great. Yeah, I remember I was in a friend of mine's bedroom, and it's his birthday today, actually, but he lived in the same neighborhood as us, and we're in there, and he collected comic books, and he's like, you gotta check this out. And he had, the first couple issues or whatever. And he's like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm like, the same results. Like, I had to like dismantle the words in my head and think, what does each of those words mean? And what does that make? Like, what is that? I like all these words. But yeah, I vividly remember that.
Of course, a takeoff of what was hottest in the 80s, like you said, Daredevil, all the Frank Miller Ninja comics, the X-Men mutant stuff. So it was just parodying the hottest tropes of the 1980s, but turning into a whole new thing.
Yeah. Classic stuff.
So this movie has an 82% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So the fans like it. The fans like this series. I think maybe the 2012 one had a little bit higher acclaim, but as far as, like you said, going from the silliness of the 80s to something, if you aged out of that one, you were ready for something a little more serious in the 2000s. So this one delivered it. My big problem, though, is it did not have the original voice cast. None of these people were the voices from the 80s. So apparently the original actors were all in the Los Angeles Union of Voice Actors in California. And the 4Kids Entertainment is in New York and is a non-union outfit. So they would not pay to have these people flown in from California. And they also didn't have the music rights. So all the music in this was close, but it wasn't exactly the 80s music.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, you guys know that Chuck Lorre wrote the original cartoon theme song, right?
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah. The guy that, like, the guy behind, like, Big Bang Theory and all.
I know who he is.
Yeah, all those television shows. He was the original composer of the theme song.
It's one of the great theme songs. I would have pushed it further. You guys fought me on it.
Where did it rank? I don't remember.
I don't know, but I remember I wanted it to go further, and somebody knocked it down.
But like I said before, there's another episode similar to this. If you like this and want more from the 2012 series, it's season 4, episode 10. If you find it streaming somewhere, Transdimensional Turtles. Krang sets off a dimensionizer weapon to destroy their dimension, and the turtles end up in the 1987 world. Do a quick detour to the Mirage universe. That one does have the original cast, and it has some of my favorite jokes in it. About the toned down violence, because like, quick, get them, guys, and it shows Raph sticks his sai in the fire hydrant, and the water knocks somebody down. Donnie uses his bow to trip somebody, and then it cuts, and the modern Raph is just stabbing someone with his sai. So it was a wonderful visual joke of the difference between the two.
I
very much love.
I might look for that and watch it. But yeah, I liked it. I like the idea that you could sit down, an old fan, basically a fan of any incarnation of it will be able to sit down with another one, and like you can watch with your kid, and everybody would get something out of it. So I liked it. I was
just gonna say, I was surprised. It's 112 minutes, or 1 hour and 12 minutes, and that seemed like a really long run time.
It was pretty long.
Yeah, I kept like watching and watching. I'm like, man, when does this have an ending to it? Like, it just kept going forever.
It aired as 3 episodes. So it aired 3 Saturdays in a row as 26-minute episodes originally.
Okay.
Well, we got to pick a ping pong ball out, guys.
Oh, I forgot my favorite word.
That's what I was going to say. I got a big surprise. We got to pull.
Get the
it's
box.
Just been sitting here.
Yay.
Oh, man. The anticipation's killing me.
All right, here we go. What we got here? Let's see. Okay, we got Charles Barkley versus Godzilla.
Now, what is this? What is that? Is that a comic book?
A one-shot comic book, I believe.
Okay.
That was a commercial back in the day.
Okay.
Early 90s.
And the commercial, this is a commercial, was so popular, they decided to expand the mythos into a Dark Horse comic book.
Yes, we will go into full detail.
Charles Barkley's been in the news lately after, this Michael Jordan documentary. He's been quoted, so he's in the culture right now.
Yep. All right, so I'm excited to check that baby out. Yeah, never read that before. I can only imagine what that could possibly entail.
Right.
So I guess we'll see you next time on the Crossroads when we tackle a comic book legendary issue. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, to this episode. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udamwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, at gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udamwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.
I have my volume way up, but I'm not hearing you really.
You're not hearing me? Is that better? I can turn it up.
I used
check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I mean, I can hear you, but it's just real quiet.
Is that better? Well, I can keep going higher.
Yeah,
like that. That sounds really high to me.
Okay, well, it's not. It didn't make a difference.
Okay, hold on.
It might just be my headphones.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I mean, just like normal?
I think so.
Okay. Sorry.
I went with the old school headphones because those white ones I had last week kept falling out, so maybe they...
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed it when I watched the playback of the video.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Shoot. There we go. Okay. What do you guys want to do first?
Whatever.
Jordan, what do you want to do first? Oh, it's going back to the white.
Oh, boy.
See if that makes a difference.
Well, I can hear both of you guys just fine.
Yeah, that's louder, so
okay.
It must just be the old crappy headphones.
Okay.
I hear you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to start with the Turtles one? Since we've been putting it on the back burner, or do you want to hold on to that?
Oh, me. Whatever.
Okay. Let's do that then.
See if I can make any sense of these notes from a month ago.
That's what we were just talking about. I don't have any notes. I haven't watched it for a month.
Well, I mean, I can't take it upon myself to take the very detailed notes when we watch something, but then if I didn't totally understand it then and we wait a month, it's really exciting to see what my clips notes. What the hell is this?
That was my cover art. I was working today.
Nice.
So I got some notes, but it's mostly like, what the heck was that Shredder alien thing? And
what?
Dates
You were going to explain that to me.
I'm saying that's the notes I have. I went and figured out what was going on with that.
Oh,
stuff.
Good.
I assumed you just knew. I assumed that was some huge thing that I just didn't know.
No, I had no idea.
Wow. And you call yourself a freaking turtle man.
Yeah. I didn't even know what the movie was. I thought it was something completely different.
What? I feel like you explained it to us before, and I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds cool.
They did this exact same thing like 5 years later.
Wait. We're just, this is all podcast. What are we doing?
This cutting room floor.
This is what we should be talking about.
I hate these headphones.
Oh, we hate them
Just
too.
use your speakers.
Does that make a difference?
Will it echo in the microphone?
If you take your headphones out, can't you still use your speaker? I don't know. Try it.
Well,
I'm worried it'll go through the mic and I'll hear what's coming out of the.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Okay, sorry. Just trying to help.
Start clapping. You're the sound guy. You know better than this. I don't want to have to clap.
I'll admit I miss those days. Clapping days. Oh, now I broke my microphone.
Hey, knocking the mic.
Oh, I've drooped.
Yeah, I don't miss those 2 or 3 hours.
Tell me about the good old days.